We do have 3 difficulties. We're going to play on normal. I think that's what everyone wants to see, right? But we'll start with that, and we'll start with, let's see, we have 8 Robot Masters, but we're going to be starting with BlockMan. So, obviously, as we have these amazing people here with us, basically if they would like to just, if there's anything they see that they want to talk about, just please, stop me so we can just discuss whatever that is they want to talk about the game.
とりあえずブロックマンのステージを見せますので、プレイしている間に何か細かい点を話したい場合は、いつでもケロンを止めて話していただければ助かります。
そうですね。もうでもここもね、いきなり最初の画面も12月に一番最初にみんなに見せた映像の時よりも実はグラフィックのクオリティが実はこっそりとそして格段に上がっているんです。
So just from the opening screen that was revealed to consumers on December of last year, we've actually made some very very subtle changes to improve the visual fidelity.
Okay.
今プロレスはこっそりとって言いましたけど、割とエフェクトから背景から割と全てクリアしてるので全然こっそりじゃないかもしれません。
So we just said subtle, but it's not so subtle. We've definitely been trying to make it definitely just a higher quality in general.
It looks amazing. Like you have the rainbow in the background there, real enemy. The waterfalls and the pyramids. It looks really incredible.
虹とか橋から落ちる虹のしぶきとか全部使ってますね。
So even just the rainbow, the mentioned rainbow, and we've definitely gone back and tried to improve the visual look of everything.
That's great. So I think on that topic, were there any particular development stories that they like to share? Just anything about that in terms of just they mentioned the visual overhaul just now, like the things that they changed. Was there anything else they wanted to share on that? Just from development so far?
もちろん開発途中ですけれど、今おっしゃったようなやっぱりビジュアルの改良とかそれに開発に関しての面白いネタとかありますか？
そうですね、やっぱり少しでもゲーム中の感触を良くしようと思って敵をいっぱい倒すときにでも微妙に振動をかけたりしてるんですよね。だからプレイ中はなかなかグラグラっていう風な感覚はないと思うんですけど、一発一発の重みっていうのは多分プレイしてるうちに感じてくると思います。
So it's we definitely want to make sure the controls and just playing through the game feels tight, and so even when there's a lot of enemies on screen, we do have a slight なんて言わないかな、バイブレーションって言ってるかな。
ちょっと
画面がちょっと揺れるって感じですか？
そうですね。昔なんて言ったらいいのかな、ヒットバックでもないな。なんて言ったらいいの、バック一瞬当てた時に振動させる。
So not sure how I would say it in English, but just the feeling when you shoot somebody. It has more of that weight to it. So when you're shooting a bunch of enemies, it is very subtle, but that level of detail is there to give players more of that satisfaction.
I see. Take this a little slow here.
あとこういうところも昔のNESのメガマンだといきなり石がボーンと落ちてきていきなり挟まれたけど、埃が最初に落ちてきて、石が危ないものが来るよっていうのを最初に少しインフォメーションを入れたり、これは現代風なアレンジですよね。これは小田さんとしては。
そうですね。やっぱりこのゲームって昔はやっぱりいきなり殺されたっていうシーンが、みんなの思い出の中でかなり強烈に刻み込まれると思うんですけども、やっぱり今回はその辺は一個一個処理していた方がいいだろうというのはかなりスタッフも気を使って作ってます。
So we went past the screen already, but the screen, no worries. The screen with the falling blocks in past classic Nintendo games, you would have the blocks just immediately fall down and kill you. But we implemented a little bit of that dust particle effect beforehand to kind of inform users, hey, block's gonna come and kick the crap out of you.
Right.
So it's just those small touches to kind of there is that sentiment where it's just back in the previous games, I would just die immediately without any warning. And just trying to modernize it a little bit more to kind of give players like, oh, hey, if I'm paying close enough attention, I can avoid these pitfalls.
Right.
でこのステージプロトタイプとして一番最初にチームで、共通認識持つために作ったステージなんで、どのプレイヤーがプレイしても、必ず一通りの操作を使うようには設計してありますね。今さっきラッシュ呼んでもらいましたけど、ラッシュを呼んで取れる場合もあるし、別の手段で取る場合もある。いろんな風に考えさせてプレイヤーを動かしてもらうという方針で作ってます。
So this stage, BlockMan stage, was actually the very first prototype stage that we created. And so we designed it in a way that it would appeal to any type of gamer that's trying it out. So even something like this, where it's like, oh, like do I use Rush do I call upon Rush to like get the item? Do I utilize other mechanics for the game? Just like creating the stage in a way that offers a lot of flexibility in how you want to get through it.
Just like that.
Just like that.
This is kind of a dangerous enemy, but I'm so used to using Rush to do that now. Cool. Let me take a look at some of the questions we got here. So I think a common one that we put out a call for social. I think a common one that several people had was like, what are the challenges of making a new Mega Man game at this point?
じゃあユーザーからの質問ですけれど、新しいロックマンの作品を作ることにあたってなんかどういうチャレンジとかはありますでしょうか？
Like that.
こういう死に方のチャレンジとか。メガマンラス。
I was trying to show off the particle effects.
そうですね。やっぱりなんですかね、昔のゲームをそのまま復活させるのではなくて、今の時代、ロックも知ってる人も知らない人も、アクションゲームとして面白くあるべきだという方針に基づいて作っていこうというのはかなり気を使って作りましたね。
So,
ごめん、もう一回だけ。
英訳できないと思う、小田さん。
そうですか。
多分。
頑張ります。
今答えがない日本語なので、典型的な。
どう言ったらいいかな、新しい人も、昔から楽しんでる人も、昔死んだ人しか遊べないようなものではなくて、新しい新規の人も楽しめるように、アクションゲームとして楽しめるようには、ロックマンじゃなくてアクションゲームとして楽しめるように作ったつもりです。
So, I guess I'll stare at the camera here since it's a user question. What one of the challenges was the fact that we didn't want to just rely on the fact that people who played the classic games like know how the gameplay is. We wanted to change it up so that anyone that's coming into the franchise for the first time, when they pick up the controller, it's not completely foreign to them. It's more intuitive. There's things in there that if you're just new to platformers, you're like, oh, okay, like I still get what's happening. なんかその誇りが出てくるのもそういうのも一つの要素って感じですよね。
そのために納得のいくコントロールは必ずキープしたのと、現代風にこのようにビジュアルで警告を入れるような分かりやすいな仕組みを入れたのと、難易度を明らかに分けて、自分はどのモードから入っていけばいいのかというのを明確にしたつもりですね。
So obviously upping the visual fidelity, but at the same time making sure that the controls are still very tight, and offering different difficulty modes so that you're not kind of intimidated from the get-go. You can kind of have options to figure out, like, all right, like how do I want to introduce myself to this game?
Right.
Figure out what's best.
Yeah. Well, I think as mentioned earlier, like you have the kind of these effects that fall just before the block does, so you can kind of show those off. Let's see. So another community question here. So from Silver Sterling J. How did the team come up with designing Robot Masters?
まずは、僕からお願いをしたんですけども、メガマン1だとボスの属性ってこの火とか氷とか子供でもどっちが強いかキッズでも分かるように大体なってます。どんどんシリーズが進むと同じネタを 回避しようと思うとどんどん分かりにくいネタになっていく、メガマン10だともうみんな見てる人は分かると思うんですけど、羊のボスがいたりとか野球のボールのボスがいたり日本刀のブレードマンっていうボスがいて、どれがどれに強いのか、もうキッズとか分からないと思うんですね。で今回は僕からすごくお願いをしたのはキッズでも分かるキャラクターの属性にしてくれ、もう炎がおる、氷がいる、そういう風にもう本当に子供でも分かるようにして、なんか昔ダジャンっていうのはみんなのアイデアとかっこいいデザインとみんなのアイデアで乗り切ってくれっていう風にお願いします。
So, from a producer perspective, the thing that I wanted to stress was the fact that if you look at the like really old classic MegaMan games, it was very easy to tell. It was a lot easier to tell like what weapon would be easier to more effective to use against which robot master.
Right.
I mean, it was a little bit more straightforward. You had like fire, you had ice. It was just like even a child could kind of piece together like, okay, like I could probably use this weapon against which robot master. And then as the series progressed and we tried to avoid the repetition, the robot masters would start to get a little bit more imaginative, so to speak. We would have, like, for example, we'd have Sheepman, we'd have a robot master shaped like a baseball, we'd have another robot master shaped like a samurai sword, and it was just like, all right, like what weapon works against what robot master? It just became way less obvious. So this time around, one of the directives was to try to make it like, okay, trying it out for the first time, I'm looking at these robot masters, making it a little bit easier to try to piece together like, okay, I think this weapon will work on this boss, and trying to make that a little bit more intuitive. And then from there on, using the imagination and creativity of the team to make sure each robot master was as cool as possible.
That's really cool.
小田さんの方から何ありますか？
そうですね、その話をプロデューサーの方から受けて、確かに過去のそのアイデアの重複に縛られて、そのロックマンが持つ本来の面白さが、制限かかるのは良くないことだなというふうに、ある種割り切ってですね、本当に日本のことで名は体を表すというのがあるんですけど、もう本当に見た目で分かるっていうのをコンセプトに置いて、今回のデザインを全て一から取り掛かりました。
Yes, nice. Thank you.
So that was having been given that directive from the producer. I wanted to make sure that when designing the robot masters that we didn't limit ourselves, and making sure that like, hey, regardless of having this directive, we wanted to make sure that like, hey, the sorry guys, I got this translation. That even without just not limiting ourselves to make sure that it's all still fresh and exciting from a visual standpoint.
Nope. Waiting for that one. There we go.
Nice recover.
今後もブロックを伝っていくっていう以外にも、いろんな抜け方があるんですよね。それは慣れていくに従って、こうだったのかっていうのは気づいてもらえると嬉しいなっていうふうに考えてます。
ここの部分。
そうですね。
Yeah, so this is like a good example of just like, hey, kind of learning the patterns of how the blocks fall.
Yeah.
And figuring out like, all right, like what's my way of kind of tackling the situation.
I think in the trailer, we used Rush here, in fact.
その通り。
A very set way of doing this at this point.
何回もプレイしてるので、もう自分ではもう絶対こうやるっていう攻略仕方を。
そうですね。でも
それがメガマンでいいところ。俺はこのプレイに絶対こだわりたいっていうのが人それぞれにたくさんあって、その種類がいっぱいあるのがすごくメガマンのいいところだよね。
そうですね。でそれがありつつも今回開発してて、自分らでもテストプレイの時によく気がつくんですけど、そういう抜け方があったのかっていうのが本当に開発初期、中期、後期すでにあったんですよね。それがやっぱり思わぬ不具合にもつながったりはするんですけど、でもそれが うまく活かせるんだったらその残した方がいいっていうのも実際残したやつがいっぱいありますね。
So what Tsuchiya-san was saying was that that's kind of the beauty of MegaMan is the fact that there's not one specific way to beat a stage.
Right.
Everyone kind of has their method of what they think is best. And Oda-san was saying that that's something that they definitely saw in every stage of development from early, mid to late, where like なんかネタありますか？なんかブロックマンのエンブラムが後ろに。
もともとこれ南アジア風の遺跡をモチーフにしたステージということで設定進んでたんですね。でそこのボスが、今ブロックマンで名乗ってますけども、当時違う名前だったんですけど、そいつがなんか自分が治める国家みたいな、感じでこのステージを作ってるって設定で作ったんですね。それの名残ですね。
So the original setting for this stage was kind of like set in like South Asia, where it was a different robot master at the time, but the idea was originally to kind of have this like monument built for him, and so that was kind of like a remnant of like, oh yeah, you know, here's my insignia.
I see.
Attack in the background.
それの決定版がボスステージの壁画みたいなので大きな壁画になってますね。
So it's like you'll get to see the actual boss room, or it's just like a big like glyph in the background.
Right.
でも名残なんですね。
名残ですね。
名残って英語でなんて言えばいいんですかね。
ね、なんでしょうね。
過去の遺産の記憶、そんな感じですかね。
Sorry guys, again, translation difficulty. They're just talking about how it's like, oh, like it's like the glyphs are supposed to represent like, oh, this is like the history that took place like within the stage, which they obviously said in one Japanese word, and I had to describe the whole thing.
Cool. I think before we get to BlockMan here, we should. So we'll see this in a moment, but so Brian Collado, I believe.
いろいろあったわけなんですね。で、それはやっぱりロックマンのシンプルなゲームなので、そこにすごくフィットするような分かりやすいものは何だろうっていうところをずっといろいろ出して分け整理していくうちに、2つだけに絞ろうと。そこで2つなんかその両輪が組み合ったようなものにならないかなっていう時に、ギアでいいんじゃないかっていうような感じでギアにます。
なるほど。So it wasn't initially just like, oh, there's this double gear system and this is how things are going to work. The way that the creative process happened was we wanted to take MegaMan and keep it in its simple form, but obviously applying something new. And so going through like all the different ideas, they figured like, okay, let's hone it down to just 2 ideas. And then when it came time to like, all right, how do we make these 2 concepts mesh together? That's when it's like, oh, like maybe we can have them as like 2 gears kind of lining up with one another. And that's how the whole double gear system came to be.
Cool. I want to ask another question, but I'm busy.
質問したいところですけど、ちょっと忙しいです。
But I think something that people might be curious, like how did they decide on like this particular fight? If they could maybe talk about that a little bit, just the way that he uses the power gear, for example.
このじゃあダブルギアに関してじゃこの戦闘に関してはどういうふうにデザインしましたでしょうか。例えばなんかどのようになんかブロックマンがパワーギアを使うとかは。
ブロックマンがパワーギアを使うことに関してですかね。
So, is your question in regards to like?
I guess the way he transforms with the power gear.
ブロックマンがパワーギアを使うところですね。
もともとロックマンのボス戦って本当に上手い人がプレイするとものすごくシンプルかつ単調な動きになってしまう展開になりがちだったんですね。それは一つの美しいプレイの形であるんですけども、そうではなくて何かその上手い人でも途中で何か破局点で分かりますかね。
破局点。
何か物事のきっかけで大きく転換する要素、そういうのがやっぱりロックマンの戦闘にも欲しいなと思ったんですけども、それはどうしたらいいかなという時にロックマンもギアを使うんだったら相手もギアを使わせた方がいいんじゃないかと。でお互いのギアとギアがぶつかり合うことで、 バトルもまあより白熱するものになるんじゃないのかっていうところで、じゃあそれぞれのボスの特徴に合わせたギアをどっちか選んで使わせることになったんで、まあ、ブロックマンに関してはまあ巨大化するパワーギアを使わせるような流れになって作ってます。
So when you watch like a veteran playing Mega Man, it's like the moves executed are much more efficient, makes it look a lot easier. But we wanted to make it so that even somebody that's been playing Mega Man for many years and eventually plays Mega Man 11 and knows what's going on, we wanted to implement something in the boss fights where there's kind of a turning point where no matter how good you are, it's not just like smooth sailing. It's like these turning points in the boss fights that kind of changes things up and offers something more interesting. And so